Okay. Back here in Premiere, I can very easily just grab this type tool down here, the letter T, like every other type tool, and I can drop some type in there. That's pretty straightforward. If I want to get some titling, you can also go into the Essential Graphics thing and get stuff that way. There are a bunch of exciting templates and things in there. This is a very loud whirring noise my fan is making. I'm going to pause this for a moment and see if I can stop that. Well, got it to reduce a little bit. Anyway, so I just dropped that type in there. I brought up the Essential Graphics thing. There's a whole lot of exciting templates that you can use. I don't know. They're not really something that I need right now. I'm going to turn that off. Whoops. Sorry. Close panel. I'm going to bring up text panel. This also has a whole bunch of exciting options there for you. Again, is it something that we need for this? Not really, right? But those are sort of your two main places where you would deal with graphic stuff that you're not bringing through, or that you're not, I guess, creating in After Effects. I mean, I guess with the graphic stuff, the Essential Graphics, you could make it in After Effects and bring it in there. Okay, but we've got our text here. I'm going to bring those in. Sorry, I made myself gigantic for a moment. Fish forever. Cool. Alright, so little box, right, same as everything else, but you'll see now we have this little pink thing here, which is our graphics. Drag it around just like a clip. We can extend it, make it longer. That changes the duration that it is there on our screen. And if I select it, pops up over here as graphics rather than being a clip. And we can go in and edit it. Important to note, you need to select that text, just like you would in Word, to be able to change the font. There's a bunch of things on here. You can get a little fancier. There's, again, another video on there in the website that goes through doing all of this exciting stuff. Alright, so I'm going to set the font. I'm going to change the color. Make it a light blue. Again, we have a bunch of default things there. Shadow. Give it a little bit of a shadow. Make it just straight up and down. Make it a little bit more opaque. That's delightful. Right, go to stroke if you want. All these things, pretty standard. I'm going to center it also. Alright, so that's good. Let's make my text box a little bit bigger. So there is our delightful font and text. I'm going to grab that anchor point too. That's there. I'm going to drag it into the middle of the text. Okay, so that's there, and if we play it right now, it will just be there for the duration that we have given it in there. That's fine, but not very exciting. So what I'd like to do is animate it a little bit. So again, with that selected, coming back here to the effect controls, I'm going to go to this text, and it has some variables just like everything else. It has position, scale, and opacity. Over here on the right side, and you can drag this, whoops, if you are careful, bigger or smaller. This is sort of a miniature timeline of that entire clip. I'm going to drag it back to the beginning, and I would like this to become bigger and sort of swim on stage. So I want to set a opening position and scale and that good stuff. So I'm going to click this little stopwatch. It becomes blue, and you'll see excuse me, a little diamondy thing pops up here. That's a keyframe, and that means that it is recording the status of this thing, and it would, if we added a second keyframe with a different setting, smoothly transition between the two. So I've set up that as a keyframe there. I'm going to drag it all the way to the end of the clip, set up a second keyframe for both of those things there as well, drag it back. Okay. So I'm going to have it start off screen, so I'm going to go back to the first keyframe. You can do that just by clicking to the first button, and I'm going to, I find this a little finicky, use these sliders, click and drag it to move that value over off stage. Okay, so now if I play it, it just very slowly over the whole course of the clip goes to that middle position. I'd like it to get there a little faster. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that keyframe that I put at the end and drag it over to somewhere in the middle. Alright, so now it goes from that to this. But I'd like it to wander a little bit, so I'm going to go to a point, I don't know, 20% of the way through. I'm going to add another keyframe to position and scale. And I'm going to go here to position. I'm going to move it over a little bit. And I'm actually going to back up on scale. And I'm going to set my scale to 0. So it's going to start out infinitely small and off stage. When we get to, I can click over to the next keyframe. Here, it'll be on stage a little bit, right? I don't want my scale to already be 100, so let's set it to 25. Alright, move it over again. Set another keyframe for both of those. And again, a little finicky over here. Scale, oh, it's already 50. That's cool. Drag it over here. Another keyframe. $75. Alright, well, I guess that's kind of smooth movement. And let's make another keyframe here for both. Set this to 90. And drag it over a little bit. Alright, so now if we play it from the beginning, mute this audio. So it sort of swims over, or slides over, and then gets a little bit bigger as it does it. That's okay. It's not super fishy looking though. So to make it a little bit more fishy looking, I'm also going to animate rotation, so I'm going to make sure I am back on that first keyframe. I'm going to add rotation, and I'm going to go to that final keyframe. Let's add rotation so that we end up with it perfect there. I also noticed that it went over a little bit. Let's see, so this is at 642, 623. Okay, I guess that's alright. I'm gonna go ahead and set this to 100 scale. Alright, so going back to that first keyframe, I'll put my rotation at 2, jump to my next keyframe, rotation to -2, jump to my next keyframe, 2, -2, and 2. Cool. So that'll have it wiggle a little bit, and I'm also going to have it shift height a little. So down a little, whoops, up a little, down a little, up a little. Let's see if I did that right. Hit play. That's okay. Alright, so now we've got our fish swimming. Let's see, up, down, up. Okay. Swimming-ish on screen. Am I going to win an Oscar for this? Yes. And that looks great. Establishes where it is, and then let's see, when we get all the way to the end, it just sort of disappears, right? Just like boop. So I'd like to have it fade out a little bit. So to do that, I'm going to back it up a little bit from the end. I'm going to click opacity here, drop in an opacity keyframe, add 100%, pull it all the way to the end, drop in another opacity keyframe, and set it to 0. So back it up. Swims on stage. Holds for a bit. And then fades out. Cool. So there you go. We've got a lovely title. Pops on, disappears. If you want to find out more effects, stuff like that, there are, again, a couple of videos I put on, one with lower third titles, which might be fun for the newscaster thing. You can also figure out credits, all that stuff. I trust that you can do these. One note, if you do need to reset, if you screwed up with your keyframes and whatever, if you just click on one of those, the little stopwatch, it will delete all of those and start over. So there you go. Make sure you save and export it, and you are good.